Ife, come.
Daddy.
Yes.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Cannot use two hands and make the thing far.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone, and welcome, or good day, depending on where you're joining me from. Welcome to this webinar. Is it a webinar? Is it a masterclass? Okay, so because you are not my focus, right? The children are my focus. So it's a children's masterclass. If you're here, I salute you. How many people do we have here? Please, can you share in the group that we are live? Okay. Because we see parents come into a group, because you want to be a part of a class. And then the day what the class reaches and we can't find you. Welcome everyone who is here. I would like to crave your indulgence that you mute yourself so that we don't have interference in the class. Okay, so that we can focus. This class is meant to be interactive. It's also meant to be practical, right? So there's going to be a lot of you're welcome to ask questions, and then of course we will be sharing activities that you would have to do or stuff that you have to do while we are here. My name is Maribeth Shima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy. And I am the matron of the Children's Mastermind Circle. I am very big on children getting their foundation right. I am big on parents pouring and putting everything, possible in to make sure that the foundation is right for the children. And that's because I know that when the foundation is right, every other thing falls in place. Get the foundation right. Even when the children, I can see Amaka loving her mom. It's nice to have you here, mommy. Yeah. All right. So when the foundation is right, okay, or mommy that is Amaka. All right. So when the foundation is right, every other thing can be built upon that foundation. Even when the children miss their way or the children fall short, even if when they go astray, the way, you fall off you fall off the wheel or something at some point, it's easy for them to bounce back because there's a foundation that has become a compass that is in their head. So somehow, even when they derail, the compass leads them back, just the way your GPS works. This class is a 4-week class, so let me explain how this works. It's a 4 weeks class, and yes, it's all free. Yes, it's all free because, as I said, I am big on foundations, and I know that the foundation that your child needs is something that you can build during the summer holiday. The summer is it's such a beautiful time for you to invest in. And year in, year out, we see how families, wasted the summer holiday because we don't know how to maximize the summer holiday. So when summer comes like this, I want to drag and push and pull, and do everything within my power to make sure that parents recognize the importance of the children's.
No.
If the foundation is right, we will not struggle. When they start coming to us, I do one-on-one sessions for children. So I do one-on-one sessions for children that are above the age for our mentorship program. I run a mentorship program, by the way, if you do not know that, okay, for children between ages 4 and 10. Now, when the child is older than 4 to 10, then if I'm going to work with the child, right, then the child it has to be a one-on-one session. And even for that, I don't go beyond 16 years. So that's the highest that we do. Now, most times it is repair. That stage is a lot of repair that is going on there when they come that way. We don't want this repair. I don't want to do this repair. I don't want you to struggle so much. I don't want all that pain for you, dear parents. So that's why foundation is big for me. My name is Maribeth Chima. I said that already. And I was going to explain how this class is going to work. So in this class, we're going to be working with the children. We want the children to be able to and reflect. And yes, your child can reflect. Too many times we do not ascribe the level of, competence that our children have. We don't recognize it. We don't give it to them because we keep telling ourselves that they are young, they are too small. They are not. If you start teaching them how to do these things, they will know how to do them. Most of the skills or most of what our children need to reduce negative behavior, to begin to self-direct, lead themselves, and all of that. Most of what they need is direction, the ability to, most of what they need is actually redirecting them and allowing them practice some of these skills. So reflection is a skill that you would have to teach the children to practice. It starts with helping them develop their attention. That's where it begins. It starts with them doing activities that they are engaged in, that they can fix their mind on for a prolonged period. As that goes on, the child's attention span begins to, expand. Now, when the child can stay in on a task for a period, then you can make that period a period of reflection where you're looking at what you have done. Why do you think this happened? Okay, what do you think you could have done differently? Okay, can we work on this together? So your child, your 6-year-old is capable of this. Your 5-year-old is ready to start learning this skill. Even your 4-year-old is ready to start learning these skills. So that's why, I am saying your child is not too young. So for the 5-year-old or 6-year-old that is going to be in this program or in this masterclass, it's not too early for them to start practicing. Even when your child, if you think your 5-year-old cannot yet, what you're doing, you are sowing seeds and you're preparing them for it. And that's also okay. So we're going to be sitting down and having them reflect on in the last year, whether it's the last school year or you just want to look at it from a holistic, and that's what we prescribe, that you look at it from a holistic view. What are the things that your child has struggled with the most, right? So let's tie it to school, and in that period, tie it to what goes on at home and everywhere. More often than not, the moment our children come with results from school, we think all of the reflection that we're doing is about their report card. But it's more than their report card. I'm going to be guiding you to zoom on 5-6 areas, right, that you want to do an evaluation around. If your goal is to raise a child who is academically sound, a child whose mind is focused on, on God and understanding the place of God in their life, and then of course a child who is focused on building executive function. So if you want to build higher functioning skill in your child, because you can actually have a child who is doing A++++ in 10, 12, 16 subjects that they do in school, and the child still has a deficit when it comes to executive functioning skill. How do you recognize this? We're going to be talking about that, how you recognize that. In spite of the fact that your child is excellent in their academics, the child's executive functioning skill is actually very, very low, because you can actually find your 15-year-old who is doing excellently in school with an executive functioning skill at the level of a 6-year-old. It is possible. So how do we recognize? Where are my glasses? Give them to me. So how do we recognize this so that we can help them? Because the real challenge in parenting is not identifying these blind spots, right? We call them blind spots. These things that our children struggle with, and because they are not the major thing that we are focused on, because they are not amongst the things that we have decided is what makes a child who is doing well, then we take it for granted. I remember saying to one of my friends one time, she was always about a particular daughter of hers. She was always about that daughter, every time, this child, this child. And so one day I looked at her and told her, I said, do you know that the child that you focus, or this particular child that you're always going on and on and on and on, it's not the one with the challenge you. She didn't understand what I was saying. I'm like, no, that's not the child with the challenge. This one that comes in, her result is always excellent, great. She's always meticulous. She's always upset at people not, being a certain way that she wants them to be and all of that. I said, Nick, that's the one with the real problem. You're just paying attention because you're paying attention to the wrong one because you don't know what to look out for. It took her about 2 years, but now she understands that that child is actually the real one that needs her attention and not this other one, as much, So it's those blind spots we want you to pay attention to. All right. Now, why are we having this class with you? Because we can't go through a reflection, reset, and rebound loop with your child without your support. Co-working. We can't come and sit down here for 1-2 classes as I will have with them, and then I'm able to help them navigate. You are going to be right in the middle of all of this. You are going to know what it is that you are looking out for. You are going to be the support system, and you are here because I want to help you become a solid support system for your child this summer holiday and beyond the summer holiday. Okay, because also a lot of parents do not understand the place of collaboration in their parenting. Collaboration is a huge part of your parenting. If you want to raise a child who is awesome, then you must identify the people you need to collaborate with so that you can give your child all the advantages that the child needs to actually pivot. Okay, so very important. That's part of why we are here. I also want to take this class and this opportunity to remind you of your responsibility in the life of your child. So I'm going to have you do an evaluation also so that you can evaluate yourself and how much of a support system you are to your child. By now, you should have heard, if you don't know, that your child's destiny, you are part of the curator of your child's destiny. You can actually mar that destiny, or you can actually propel your child to you can prepare your child to be everything and to, attain what it is that God has created them to be. But you single-handedly, dear parents, okay, when I say parent, as a unit, if it's two of you, it's two of you. If it's you alone, you single-handedly can actually make a total mess of your child's destiny, your child's journey, and all of that. It's that sad, okay? And the painful thing about it is we can do this without even knowing that this is what we are doing. We can do this without even realizing, that we are doing this. Please, can you give me a second? I need to call for my glasses. 1 second, please. Okay, I need them to see. They are not recommended. All right, thank you for that minute, parents. Okay, so these are the things that we're looking at, totally holistically. Admin, do I have my slides ready? Right. So I want to remind, as I said, I want to remind you of that role and then position you with tools and strategies that you can use, right, to, move this child to, to the next level, because that's where we should all be going to, the next level. Very important. Now, for the children, I'm going to have them next week. I'm going to have the first class, and that first class is going to be for your 5 to 7 year olds, only your 5 to 7 year olds. The 5 to 7 year olds are going to come to this class, and I'm going to have a lot of work. We're going to do a lot of worksheets and work, because I know they can't sit down here and have conversation and evaluate. This is the problem that I have. That's it. So we're going to break this down in a way that they can just simply tick and answer questions that will lead us, or help us see what it is that they consider the challenges that they have. Because sometimes as parents, we can do this evaluation and we think that we know what our child is struggling with, and you actually are missing it because you don't know. Okay, so even at 5, they can actually answer certain questions when the questions are put directly in the way that they can articulate it. They can answer, and then by the time we put all that, together, we're able to say, okay, this, are some of the ways that the child has struggled, and then there are ways that we can help the child. Right, so we will have that session. When I finish in that session, the first session, the children, we're going to do an evaluation with the children. We will go through and do the evaluation with them. And then we will leave, after doing the evaluation, we will leave them with an awareness of the fact that they can make a difference this summer holiday, or that we can start working on something this summer holiday. So we will help them start the process of creating a summer routine. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge or big routine. Our summer must do could just be 3 or 5 things that they will do repeatedly every day during the summer holiday. Okay, they will come back with a form that you will fill together, right? You and them will fill together, that will, spark the next thing that we're going to be doing during the summer holiday you're going to be doing together during the summer holiday. And we will be here to say hi and answer your questions if you have any. We won't put you in a group to do anything. You will do your thing together, but you will have access to ask questions, and all of that. Now, the week after that, I'm going to have the session with your 7 to 12-year-olds. Okay, we'll have a session with your 7 to 12-year-olds. It'll be practically about the same thing, but at age appropriate level with them. And of course, it will be a notch higher, because we expect your 12-year-old to be able to, to evaluate themselves to an extent. And it will be a lot of conversations. That session is going to be a lot of conversations, a lot of, practical right there during the session. And of course, they will also go with, evaluation forms further that they will work with you on, and all of that. Now, in the last week, I am going to have the children come together. Okay, I'll have 2 sessions on one day, the session with the younger ones and then the session with the older ones. Now, they would have submitted whatever they need to submit to us. It's a lot, but it's my way of giving back. I will go through each of their forms if you do well to submit them. If you do well to work with them to submit the form, my team will go through the forms, and we will give you some level of feedback after doing that, so that we know where to focus on with that child as we rebound into.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Who is that now? Who is that? All right, so that's what we're going to do, so that they can now rebound and all that. Now, this will probably give them entry into so we have a back to school class that we do for, most times you get entry into it for 1 or 2 things that you've done with us, and all of that. So of course, there will be solutions and things that you can apply straight away and start doing. We will give you the different things that are possible that you can, start applying straight up. Okay, so we're coming back to your class, dear parents. Okay. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the children, basically. So each group of children are going to have 2 meetings with me, and then they will join the back to school masterclass that happens in September. It's a back to school for children. It happens in September, the last week before they go to school. So that's a class for them and other people. So that will happen. So basically, that's it. We were busy. Okay, so let's come back to you and all of that. So this is going to be a 60-minute session. We've used some of it because I have to go and watch the match between England and France, right? It's today. Yeah, so I have to watch England and France at 8 o'clock. So we need to do and go. Okay, so, and then I need to sleep. All right, so for the next 40 minutes, we're going to be looking back at the year to find the friction, that our children have had to reset, their minds. And some of it is going to be a lot of affirmations, because with some children, you would realize it's not just about the 70s instead of hundreds, or the 50s instead of 70. For some of them, it's psychological. For some of them, is lack of belief in themselves. For some of them, is they have actually practically withdrawn because of something that has happened here and there. So we need to move from just thinking of, evaluation from a place of their academics. It could be deeper than that. We've had this class, at some points that we had, we eventually had children we had to work on one-on-one because the issues were deep and the children were totally withdrawn from their parents already, and all of that. So please, I need you to have an open mind while you are evaluating your children's progress or process, okay? And have an open mind and be truthful in your evaluation of the role that you play in all of this, because you are a huge factor in all of this. Very key, okay? Open mind, dear parents, and then open mind that your child's challenge could be beyond just their academic scores, right? If it's just the academic scores, I will not be here with you because those scores are neither here nor there, right? I was at PTC with children the other day, my son actually, and I looked at his results, great results, and all of that, and I looked at particular areas, his core areas, and okay, the result was not like excellent, and the teacher said to me, don't worry, he's doing good, right? But it's just the season. So you see, even the teacher is saying it's just the season. Okay, we're preparing for WIEC, and this is like the first test, with WIEC questions. So of course, it's the first, okay? So if I go and I'm looking at it, I'm like, why is he getting 70 or 80 in chemistry? Why shouldn't he? If I'm looking at that, then I will be judging the child based on something that I don't even have the total picture. Now I'm talking to the teacher is saying, it is WIEC of SS3, and the child is just in SS2. So he still has a whole year. Can you see that? And even for the child who actually ended up failing, it could just be so many other things, as we're talking about now, so many other factors that are responsible for the child's stability and all that the right environment and all of that the child needs. Those can be what it is that, is actually holding the child back. Admin, can we move? All right, my next slide, please. Okay, so in the next slide, I will be talking about the fact that your child can be dealing, okay, what's this? 5 stuff you leave finished on plan. What is all this? What is all the 10 minutes? The 10 I already did. Okay, all right, so we're going to start now. Think back over the last year or the last term or the last period, whatever period you choose to evaluate, as a parent. And this is because our dynamics are really different. For me, I could be evaluating the last 3 months. For you, it could be the last 6 months. For another, it could be the last school year. So whatever that frame of time is for you, okay, feedback and score each area score each area of your child's life from the need urgent support to the child is thriving. So in whatever you're looking at, look at where is it that the child needs urgent support and what it is or which area is it that the child is thriving. You want to look at it like that. Think back over the last school year and then look at all of this. Where does he need support and where is he thriving and all of that. I'm going to have you zoom in and focus on 5 areas for the purpose of these,
Not actually before you.
for the
I'm
purpose
looking for
of
the
this,
right day and the
review,
what.
reset,
Maybe
and
I'm going to call Coach Ebuka one-on-one. They might
please
not call your name,
mute
but
yourself
whenever they discuss,
before you
I'm
call
sure that all of these complaints they are discussing, you also see yourself in them.
Paula, please mute yourself. All right, then. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's look at growth areas. In the Mastermind Circle, right, the mentorship program I run for children, we focus on 10 growth areas. Okay, but let's leave those 10 growth areas. Let's look, because they are embedded in the 5 that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, I want you in this evaluation to, first of all, look at where your child is in their academics. So go in and zoom in on how well has my child grown or progressed. Progressed in the last whatever period you're evaluating. Remember, I did not say how well has the child done. I said how well has the child progressed. Because you can have a child that was doing a 40%, you know, at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the evaluation period. And at the end of the evaluation period, the child is doing 60. Parents, this child has done well. Child has grown. Child has moved from point A to point B, and that is fine. I don't care how small that point A to B is, so that you stop putting yourself under pressure and putting these darling children under undue pressure. Has the child made any progress at all? Then it is beautiful. If one child made from point A to point Z, thank God. If another made from point A to point C, beautiful. If my darling made from point A to point B, that child has also done well. So let's pay attention to how well did the child progress, okay? Because when we now know how well the child progressed, then we now know what the next level of support is. Very important. The next one is reading. So we bunch them together, academic and reading. Reading is so huge, it's so big. It is one of the things that are underrated in our parenting journey. It's one of the things that are underrated, in fact, in your child's whole academic, your child's development, your child's building themselves, everything. Reading is underrated, and it's something I want you to pay attention to after this class. Parents, your children should love to read books. Your children should enjoy reading books. Your children should cultivate a deep love and habit of reading. If you have a child that is in year 12, you have a child that is in year 11, you have a child that is doing all straight A's, and the child still does not like to take a book and read for knowledge, the child cannot take the book, The Alchemist, and read it because the child wants to be knowledgeable. The child cannot take the 5 o'clock club and read it because they want to be knowledgeable. They can't take Chimamanda's Africana and read because they want to be knowledgeable. There is a problem. Yes. Even if that child is doing all straight A's and is necessary. Because what we have, the problem we have here is a child that is not concerned about developing themselves. What you have here is a child that is probably more concerned about how well they pass an exam or how good they look and how straight their A's are and all of that. You could have a child that has been raised in a system where excellence in their academic has been prioritized, that the child has had to drive themselves over the years. So the child has been on a drive, and it's all about grades. Because if your child is growing holistically, then the child should have a deep love for learning beyond their grades. Very key. Okay, so if your child is at that level, it is a challenge. And I'm saying this for your 16, your 17, 18-year-old that is in the university. Because when they leave schools where, you know, statutory tests and all of those tests that they take, when those tests are put aside, where your child is at truly in life is the kind of conversations that your child can have. What your child is or where your child is truly in life is what the child brings to the table when the child sits down where meaningful conversations are being had. If your child cannot sit down and talk about finances and cannot sit down and talk about financial matters, even at SS3 and they're having straight A's, there's a problem. If your child cannot sit down and talk about, talk about the things that are happening around the world, the child does not know what is happening in technology. The child does not know what is happening in governance. The child does not know what is happening. The child just doesn't have general knowledge, and the child he can't hold a conversation with a sensible person and make sense. Please listen to your older children. Start listening to your 15, your 16, your 18-year-olds. Listen to the conversations that your children are having. The conversations that your children are having will make you either proud or will make you wonder, what's going on here? Please, Ma, is there recording show? Yes, there's recording for the session. Not a problem at all. Okay, so pay attention to the kind of conversations that your children are having. It will tell you where your child is at, because you can have a 16-year-old. There are times I listen to some 16-year-olds around me, right? And even me, I know that I need to go back and study some more. I need to go back and read certain things. I need to go back and refresh my memory, or refresh or begin to open my mind to learning, along certain lines, because of the conversations that these children are having. So if all that your preteens and teenagers are talking about is movie, football, all of that, and they can't talk about meaningful subjects, then it means that they don't have, a hunger for learning. They don't have a hunger for knowledge. So it's two different things: passing exams and hunger for learning. Sometimes I sit with my 11-year-old, my daughter is son, 11-year-old, and we're talking, or she's talking about certain things, and I can see depth. There's depth in the conversation. It's not shallow. So that's what I'm talking about. So reading is key. For our younger children, reading is meant to be interactive. Reading is meant to be a whole total experience for your child. So even for your 2-year-old, we should start creating a whole experience around reading. So evaluate even your 18-month-old. Yes, evaluate your 18-month-old. When you hand your 18-month-old child a book, what does the child do with the book? Does a book really engage your child? So recently I started creating books for children 0 to 3. Okay, hard copy books where okay, I would have told them to bring a copy for me. Okay, I started creating board books for children. And that's because I am in the space where I'm doing a lot of research around children reading and foundation. Do you know that when your 1-year-old or your 6-month-old child is reading, it has nothing to do with letters, and all of that. It has nothing to do with letters, ABCD, and all of that. It's because we don't know a lot of things. That's why we are excited that our 3-year-old can blend 3, 4, 5 letter words. The child has no business with blending nothing. No business with blending nothing, right? At least not to the extent that it bothers you that they cannot blend. Do you understand? Or to the extent that they need some extra lesson teacher to make it work. It's not. At this stage, your child is just like interacting with the book. The reading at this stage is highly sensorial. So your child is just connecting with that book, interacting with that book, building other skills with that book, cultivating a love for reading and learning and all of that. So if you have not been buying board books for your children, your 1-year-old, your 6-month-old, your 2-month-old, start buying for them. And when you buy for them, don't just put them on your lap to read the books. So that's why the board books are necessary, okay? Because now you want to leave them with the book and go, because you know that they cannot hear it. It's board books. Yes, they are expensive. My board books are 2 times more expensive than the books that your 13-year-olds are reading, because it actually costs me 3 times to print them than the books that our 13-year-olds are reading. But the thing is, the board book, the child's supposed to read for a prolonged period. So that's why you see your child is able to mimic, the reading. When you read with them, he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. That doesn't happen in one day. He reads it multiple times. So your child is supposed to be tied to the book. After a while, they become so tied to the book, and they can read that one book for 1 whole year or more. So that's why it needs to be durable, so that your child can interact, your child can enjoy, your child can, and while you are at it, you are building trust and confidence. Do you know when you leave a book with your 1-year-old and you go away and what you have told the child is, I trust that you can handle this. But the truth is, you have fortified the child by giving him a book that he can handle. He doesn't know that, but he's able to stay with that book. So it's not the one that he carries it. Leave it, give it back to me, take it away. Don't stop it. When you're doing that, you are actually telling the child, I can trust you. So you're already building the distrust, and all of that. You're already telling the child you are not competent. So all of that doubt and, stopping their reflexes, and all of that, their intuition is already setting in simply with a simple book that you put there. Oh, they say buy book you have bought, but that book is becoming a problem now because it is causing distrust. It's causing the child thinking that he's not good enough to handle a book. But when you buy the book that the child can handle, the child builds trust. Confidence comes from that. I tell people every time they say their children say, my children have never turned their books. Not even when they were little children. No, they've not. So because from day one, books were appreciated and the right kind of books were given. So the child learns, trust, or you express trust in that relationship. See how much I've taken the time for just this one. That's how important books, reading, and it's a part of their academics. And if the children get reading and the love, the cultivation of reading, if they get this right, then the academics become a fruit. Children who love to read, who enjoy reading, who love books, who interact with books, who connect with books. Do you know how much of their creativity is expanded? When you give your 2-year-old a book, he's picture reading and he's creating his own story from his own perspective of what the book represents or the experience that he's getting from that book. That's how they begin to create their storytelling ability, their imagination, and all of that. Creativity is heightened just by handing a child a book. You put it at a level the child can get it and use. The child is already learning how to make informed decisions and able to think and then make preferences from the beginning. So there are 4 books that you have that he can go there and say, oh, this is my favorite. He already knows that and he can pick it and focus on that one because he prefers that one. You're already giving the child the ability to make choices. See, parents, this is not about books today. So let's move on to the next thing. It's because of this, that's why we created the 30 days book challenge. So I run a 30 days book challenge from the 1st of August to the 30th of August every year. This is year 5. This is it's for this reason, because we want to help families cultivate the love for reading. And that challenge is you register your child from 0, your children that provided the child can sit on your lap and you can read to them. Your child, your 6-month-old, your 8-month-old, and we hold you accountable because it's a whole program we're doing together, we're having fun together, and it's not just books, it's fun activities, okay? So we're out with that one. You can actually register and be a part of it. But anything you do, dear parents, just make sure that you are very big on reading and you give this gift to your child. Give this to every one of your children. All right. So the next one is their social emotional well-being. You're going to evaluate them along that line. How is your child's social skill? I don't want to go into the story. All right. Those of you who have followed me for the longest, for some time, you would have heard me talk about our son and how we had to go back to the drawing board when at 6 we realized that, okay, there were some things that were not sitting. It wasn't even at 6 we realized he didn't want to come out, and do things like many other people and all of that. We helped him with that, but much later, even while my son is highly cerebral, does well academically, great public speaker, he will face 1,000, 10,000 people on the stage, get disconnected feeling that he is uncomfortable. Nothing. He can face 10,000 people. But at some point we realized he could face 10,000 people on a stage, but he didn't care about sitting with 2 people, that he wasn't very close to and having a conversation. So sometimes you realize that there are issues, but you did not just see it because you are focused only on the areas where the child is doing well. So you go about telling yourself the child does not have any issue. They do well. Exam, all A's. Waiting, public speaking is right there. In class, you even ask the teachers will not figure it out because they cannot see it. Because the child is doing well in 99 areas. And so that one gray area will pass you by and you will not see it because you are focused on 99 areas. You see, no wonder Christ had to leave all the sheep and went to chase the one that was missing. It's the same thing with our children. You will have to, you will have to pay attention so that you can pick that one place, those 2 areas, that the child needs support that you're not paying attention to because 99 areas are great. Okay, so that's very important. Of course, emotional wellness, we can't even begin to emphasize that one. It is so huge because if we don't get the children in the right place as far as their emotional wellness is concerned, it will affect every other area. So you can have your child that is all A+ and all of that. If their emotional stability is not worked on, that child will end up sabotaging themselves because bad character will enter the matter. Bad character will enter the matter, inability to, believe in themselves, themselves, all of that. Child can be a victim of peer pressure because, of course, emotional stability is not there. And then over the years, it has turned to low self-esteem and many social baggages that it comes. So very important. To meet my first evaluation. All right, the next one is leadership and purpose. How aware child of leadership and purpose. Omar, mute yourself, please. How aware is your child when it comes to, leadership and purpose? Because some of us are raising children, raising your 16, 17-year-old. That's Omar, please, you need to mute yourself. Admin, can you help me mute Omar?
People can tell them, okay, Mama, which book do you want to read today? Even this summer holiday.
Admin, are you there? Can you mute for me?
Which book do you want to read? Because you like I had an injury.
That distraction we don't need. Where is admin? Can you mute Omaruma?
I won't lie.
Oh, I don't have an idea that's
I feel stressed because I feel like I'm putting too much on myself. I am putting too much. And it's not as if what I am doing is it's not something.
Sorry, I am concerned. I don't like it when parents help me mute Omaruma.
Honestly, whenever you pride over them.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, can you speak close? Yeah. All right then. So very key, okay? So you can have a 17-year-old that doesn't even think that, doesn't have there's no anchor, there's no awareness of the fact that, I should serve or service, impact, nothing. Just let me go to school, do well in school, come back home, people serve me, and all of that. No inclination, no attachment, nothing to do with leadership or purpose. So you need to pay attention to that. You are evaluating that area of your child's life, even for your 3-year-olds. Your 3-year-old should start understanding, picking non-verbal cues. The child should be able to look at you and say, Mommy, are you okay? Mommy, do you want water? Your child should look at your face and say, okay, there's something different. Even at 3, they should be that sensitive, towards you. That's some leadership skills, building there. That's some impact, purpose. That's empathy right there. That's where it all starts. Your child should be able to say, I want to go ahead and do something, for the family because I just want everybody to be happy, or I want to support the next person. That's it. Those are all the seeds, of emotional intelligence. Those are all the seeds of leadership and purpose right there. You see them in small pockets. My first form, stay here, please. All right, so I'm going to be sharing a form with you that you will be using. Then the next one is focus, routines that they follow through. Now, I want you to look at this one as, how is my child able to take initiative? Okay, I don't know how they did this one. So break it down to ability to take initiative. So whether it's your 12-year-old or your 10 or 13, 15-year-old that is having straight A's, but will not go the extra mile to pick something on the floor and keep it in the right place, their executive functioning skill is on a very low level. If they are not able on their own to start something or do something that is right without being told, it is a concern that we need to focus on and begin to help them grow in that area. If your child is unable to start something and finish it, they go to the kitchen, they eat their food, they drop it there, they wash the plate, then they go and watch TV, come back and watch the spoon. If the child is not able to start a task and finish it, it can be this, it could be any other kind of task. Your child is not able to start and see things through. 10, they are 10, they are 12, they are 15. There's a challenge right there. There's some executive functioning skills, right? Working memory that is actually missing, right there. So we need to pay attention to all of this. You'll be evaluating this. Your child's spiritual life. Your child is unable, your child is 12 and doesn't even understand, that there's a need to be intentional about God, right? Your 10-year-old does not, in fact, your 15-year-old is still in a place where we go because they say we should go, and it's not about them just going to church or saying, I said my prayer, or going to mosque, or where it's not about that. It's about you beginning to see that there is there is an extra thing about the child when it comes to, so you begin to evaluate, see this. So these are the things that I want you to pay attention to, and I want you to evaluate. I will need my form, right? So I'll need them to project that form. But if for some reason we don't get that form projected, it will be right in the group before. I'm still on the first slide. Can you move the slide, please? All right, then. My form, the first form, form 1. Yes, please. Okay, so while he's projecting from 1, okay, so now let's go to pick one occurring battle from last term. The morning rush, homework, time meltdown, or whatever. So break this down. This is how you look at it. Step 1, what routine or instruction did you give, and what did your child struggle with the most? So this is you coming back to look at, these areas. Now, does my child know how to take initiative? So these are some of the areas that you're going to be looking at to see where your child is able to take initiative. Now, let's move this to the next point. The next point is self-evaluation. Okay, now I want you to evaluate yourself, dear parent. Okay, now this, because my slides are not coming the way I like them, so let me just move on without them while we're waiting for him to project the form. So the second thing you're doing is you are doing your own evaluation, dear parents. Now, your evaluation is this. Ask yourself, number 1, how present have I been? Okay, so let's look at this first form together. Okay, you can ask you to take your time with the form, all right? But let's look at it. I was trying to expand the form. And
please bring the plate. Let me take akara.
All right, so use this framework to reflect on your child's academic year beyond grades and test scores. All right, so look at, yes, thank you. So look at it, responsibility and proactiveness. Does your child take ownership for their task? Does your child complete age-appropriate responsibility? So you're looking at responsibility. Can you scroll if I can't? All right, you're looking at responsibility. These are some of the questions that you are going to be asking yourself. We'll send this form for you to fill. The next one is decision making and problem solving. Right, it doesn't matter whether this child is making 20 A's. Come back and look at this. See me that was bragging that I'll finish in 1 hour. Lord help me. It won't work. All right, so ask yourself now, decision making and problem solving. Does my child consider consequences? Because there are children that your consequences don't mean anything to them, no matter what those consequences are, right? You've walked those consequences to the point because of your inconsistency and whatever else. The child is at the point where the consequences mean nothing to them anymore. You need to pay attention to all this. Now go to your emotional intelligence, scroll. Okay, so these other factors, just look at them and feel them one by one. Okay, emotional intelligence, you want to ask yourself, where your child is at that. Can my child identify their feelings? I wrote 3 amazing books for different ages of our children, right? For all my 3 series or all my 3 categories of series, I wrote something on emotional intelligence this year. By the way, if you did not or you haven't pre-ordered our books, you're wrong. They are such amazing books. I have 10 new books this year, and all of them amazing. All right, it's all, I wrote for the 0 to 3-year-olds. I even wrote about my feelings and I. So we want our children to start recognizing their feelings. It is now that you build their emotional awareness. It starts from now. Let them see their emotions in their everyday activity. So for the older kids, I wrote My Feelings Are Welcome. The other kid, I wrote My Feelings Are Welcome for your 4 to 6-year-olds. Very beautiful book. I love that book. And then for the older kids, I wrote In My Mind, what's going on. So for everything that you're talking to your child about, I reflected on what's going on in your child's head, right, when those things happen. And then we now help them see what we can see as adults or what we see that they're not seeing. Okay, so they can look, we can enter their head and see what's going on there and help them begin to change their mindset to understand the reality and not just what's going on in their preteen or in their 10-year-old head. So such beautiful narrative, it's just a beautiful book. That's the truth. All right. So the next one is relationship and character. You want to look at that also, how your child can manage all of that. So I think that's still under emotional intelligence. And then your spiritual and value growth. Your spiritual and value growth. You want to pay attention to that. Does my child demonstrate gratitude? Because you can have that child that is having all straight A's, that doesn't know how to appreciate the chef in the kitchen, that doesn't know how to appreciate the driver, that is highly entitled. So the fact that he's coming home with 10 A's does not mean that the child is growing or is at the right place when it comes to their spiritual, awareness and, of course, their value growth. You can have your 10-year-old that is, you can have your straight A child, right? That doesn't even understand what it means to have values, isn't it? So that's why you will see people that will come online. They are absolutes, virgins and all of that, but do not have certain values that actually would keep them from certain things that could harm them because the values are wrong. So these are some of the issues that we need to pay attention. And if we don't start evaluating today to pay attention to those gaps and begin to fill them, then we would do them a disservice without even knowing that we're doing our children a disservice. Very key. Next slide, please. All right, so this is your evaluation. So your whole child growth wheel. So we scored this. You're going to score yourself so that you know where to focus on. So the academics, responsibility, decision making, emotional intelligence, relationship and character, and then their spiritual growth. You're going to do all of this scoring, and we will use this, or you would use this to know where to support the child. Okay, so I said the next evaluation, I would have the parent form if you don't mind. The next evaluation is your evaluation. How well have you supported your child in the period that you're evaluating? Now, are you the parent that is not present at all? And so you have positioned all kinds of people to support your children. You need to pay attention to that and how that has affected or how that is, played into your child's present dynamics or the outcomes that your child is having. Now, 2, are you the parent that makes time to spend time, even if it's 15 minutes or 10 minutes with your child every day? And when I'm saying every day, I'm not saying that you're at home and they're at home. I'm saying that you leave everything and you have a pillow talk with your child at the end of the day, or that you have time that you're talking heart to heart. Are you in that place? Because that on its own can actually contribute to your child's stability, your child's confidence, your child's sense of self-worth, and all of that. Are you in the place where you leave everything and you spend that short time with your child, no matter how small? Number 3, are you the parent that is intentional parents, and you know what to do with your children, but you are not consistent with it? Hello, come closer. I am in that, I've been on that table for many years, okay? I've been on that table for many years, and I can tell you for free, what all of your good intentions, all of the things that that you apply once in a week, 2 times in a week, 3 times in a week, sometimes even if you do it 5 times in a week, I promise you, if consistency is not, you will see the difference between a person that has been consistent. Your children know that. You see this phone, it sits down here, and this phone sits down here every time. How your child's outcome based on the fact that this phone sits here every time, and the fact that this phone is here sometimes, is not here sometimes, the outcomes are going to be different. You will see the difference, okay? Because sometimes what you're struggling with or what your child is struggling with is your lack of consistency. And so because when we are not consistent, we confuse our children. So that's why you see your child is neither here nor there. When you're around, your child can get it right. When you're not around, they abandon it. Sometimes they do it right. Sometimes they don't do it right. So what you want is you want to help your children be able to navigate without you. And you want to be sure, or you want them to understand the consequences of their actions, basically, and navigate through life with the sense of understanding of what actions and outcomes are about. So that's your job. But if you are not consistent, then they are confused, because today they get this result, tomorrow they get that result, So consistency is the thing, but you want to evaluate yourself and see where you are. Where's my form? Right? The parent form. You want to. So we're going to share that form with you also, so that you can do your evaluation, so that you know your true position and you know how you are helping these governments, okay? So that you know how you are helping this government or this ministry, okay? Whether you are the one that is holding back this ministry or you are the one that is pushing this ministry, okay? So academic support, this is not, okay. Is that my phone? All right, so this form, is broken down. So the form is broken down and it talks about, how you support your child. Are you the parent who supports your child by being around? Do you go the extra mile for your younger children by supporting them with what they are doing, right? Do you support them with their schoolwork? Do you support them with, even their personal development and all of that? Very key. Now, are you the parent who understands the place of collaboration in your relationship with your child? All right. Do you understand the fact that you cannot do this on your own, and that there are certain collaborators that you need on your journey that you must engage with? All right. Are you building relationship, or do you build relationship between you and your children's teachers, so that you know per time what your child is in the classroom, in school, and what your child is at home? Are you in that space? Do you, or have you reached the point where you have realized that your children need mentorship? My son started having mentors when he was 7. He has had mentorship for the last 10 years of his life. So when you see him, you will tell that this is someone who has been guided. When you see him, you will tell that this is someone that has the right voices in his ears. Now, we recommend mentorship because mentorship will train your little ones to begin to take instructions and run with instructions. Mentorship points and helps your child recognize the kind of voices beyond your voice that they need to. So you need to teach and you need to show your child the kind of voices that they should listen to. If you do not, you will find out many times that when your children are not listening to you, they are probably listening to some horrible kind of people, or people they shouldn't be listening to, because you have not projected or you have not guided them to the significant other kind of adults or other kind of people that they should listen to. So these things are so key, very important. Apart from that, mentorship, of course, is what brings your children to certain tables and to certain rooms where your children understand that there are certain kind of conversations that are important in this life. All right. So if you don't get your children into mentorship, you don't get them into environments that will build them. You need to put them in the right room with the right kind of people so that they understand what kind of company is important in their life. Do you know sometimes your children never really know that there are other children whose parents are like you, because their friends are not like you. Their friends' parents are not like you. The people in their class, their parents are not like you. So your children already have the impression that there's something wrong with you because you are a killjoy kind of parent. You said they shouldn't have food. You said they shouldn't do this. You said they shouldn't do that. You're intentional. You are doing this. So they think that you're just wrong as a parent. Until you bring them in rooms where they begin to meet children who agree with you because their parents share similar values with you, their parents share similar concerns with you, then they begin to see, oh, it's not just my parents. There are a lot of children who are like me, okay, or who actually don't have a problem with these things that mommy says. So, okay, maybe it's time for me to look at it that way too, that I just know people who are not like me. Doesn't mean that there aren't people or there's nothing wrong with the way my parents are. Very important. Very, very key. Okay. mentorship, I mean, we're not talking about mentorship today, right? Yes, so killjoy kind of parents. So we're not talking about but these are the things. So you need to evaluate the kind of support that you're giving your child. So that's why we're talking about this. What kind of support does your child have? Does your child have you? Does your child have you supporting them with the different areas of their life? Does your child have you making time for them? I'm not saying just being at home with them. Does your child have you bringing in trusted people that can, collaborate with you to support them? In that way, they see how important they are to you, that you're even going above and beyond to ensure that they have a solid support system behind you, besides you. These are the things you want to evaluate. That part, scroll for me if I can scroll, sir. So you want to evaluate all of that also. That's your own self-evaluation. Now, the other thing that we're going to be talking about today quickly is we're going to be looking at, what kind of system do you want in your home, right? If we're going to support these children from summer and beyond, what kind of system do you want to now, introduce in your home so that you can support your child? Now, I have done a lot of research, and of course, from my personal experience, okay, and I've realized that you really do not even have to go out of your way to start a whole new thing. You can actually look at systems that we have, okay, and reinvent. Okay, all you need to do is reinvent the wheel. Do you know that when you talk about educational principles and curriculums, and practices, do you know that you can take some of those educational principles or educational practices and, adopt them and use them in your home? Yes. Do you know you can take a whole Montessori system and tweak the Montessori system so that you can apply it in your home? Because we want to reduce our children's learning to just school and what school can do for them. What I'm trying to say to you today is you can actually borrow from these educational principles and apply them in your home, and you will do them excellently. When you start looking at some of these educational principles, you realize that some of them are even more relatable than you even trying to relate. Is a Nigerian curriculum, sometimes those curriculum talk is big, but by the time you look at certain principles, you realize they're actually easy for you to adopt, right? And bring them into your home. So let's look at a few that I really love and I want you to consider, because it's not that big. It's not that deep, really. All right, so I'm sure you've heard, you see all these videos about Japanese. You see all these videos about Japanese and how the Japanese education system is one of the top in the world, and all of that. Do you know that the Japanese system is just simply anchored on discipline and culture? The Japanese education system is anchored, right? It is embedded in discipline and culture, right? So it looks at social skills, responsibility, group harmony, and natural system shaped by cultural values. That's what the Japanese system is all about. So when you see the Japanese go to America for the World Cup, and after they are done, they are cleaning the stadium, it is rooted in their values. So you can go home and borrow and reinvent this educational system in your home, and you build something that based on this, everything we do is going to be anchored around this. Parents, this thing is deep. I said it's not that deep, but it's deep. It's deep because you can create this in your home. In the mastermind system, you don't know this, but I have borrowed from all of these, I borrow from all of these educational practices and try to put it together, right? So that we can help the children, that's a whole full curriculum. That's how we come about curriculum. All right. So you want to look at social skills, and you want to look at responsibility. You want to look at group harmony. So when you have systems in your home where your children have to do things together, when as a family you have family traditions, that's where the Japanese system is rooted in. Where natural systems, so that's why the Japanese don't wake up and they are in school, they are reading, doing, they play a lot. So they are outdoor, they are interacting with nature, they are doing, I mean, the Chinese use this. So I think, I mean, Japanese, China, that system is. So that's why you see those videos of they go to school, the children are sewing, the children are baking, the children are cooking. What are our everyday life needs? What are the needs that we have for everyday life? That is the true education. When my children wake up late and they are not early to school, I put them in my car and I drive them to work. And I say to them, we're going to the other school. Because that one you go to is a school. This one is also a school. So I can conveniently go with my both children to work and I will get a lot of work done at the office because they are that resourceful. Because they've been taught that school is school and the things that we do outside here is also school. And that's because you have decided that you would embrace this curriculum and tweak them. So you can actually sit down, ask yourself, what are the cultural values, and then discipline, and then the natural things that we want to see in our children, and then our culture. You want to put it together, and create some system that you would work with this summer holiday and beyond with your children. That's what the Japanese system, educational system is rooted in. That's the reason they will go to school, they will study for 40 minutes, and then they will play for the next 1 hour. And then they will come back and they will study for another 40, and they go and climb trees, and they go and jump and climb trees and do all of that. It's not, and it's the same thing. Very key. Then the next one is the Finnish education system. Finland has one of the greatest education system, they say. Do you know that in Finland, they use the loop system, they use the cohort system in education where a teacher can be your child's teacher for 6 whole years. The teacher is your child's teacher for 6 whole years. So the teacher becomes so familiar, the child becomes so familiar with the teacher, and all of that. And they're able to grow together and go through the processes in their education together. Do you know that could be you also? You are your child's permanent teacher. You are there. So it means that you come with a curriculum every day. So you are with them growing through the phases and going through the system one day at a time. And it is connective. So you have what you're doing when they are 2, what you do together. You have what you're transitioning to when they get to 3 and all that. You can build a whole reading system for your children. This year, when I was writing, I focused on helping families build a whole reading system. So we have My First Book series for your children between 0 and 3. This book your child will play with, will interact with. We have 3 of them in that series. Okay, your child gets used to this book in the next 4 months, 6 months, 1 year. The child is reading. You can add 1 or 2 more. These 5 books sit on your child's shelf at a level that your child can reach and choose which one they want to play with or which one they want to read and all of that. They read the story over and over again to the point they begin to mimic it. He huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. Okay, and then he goes, that little pig was not there, big pig was not there, all of that. You do all of that, the child is growing. And then by the time the child gets to 4 or 5, you move them and then you introduce them to, choppy chapter books. So we wrote the Little Minds series. The Little Minds series is for children between 4 and 6. At this point, your child is beginning to know how to read. So it's heavily packed with pictures and small chapters. So they read chapters, they see the picture, they move to the next chapter. The child is feeling, I'm a big boy, I'm reading chapter books also. So that is for the child to transition from big picture books, that they just interact with that way, to reading chapter books that they can use the picture to connect with what the text is saying. And then from there, they begin to move from that, and then they move to the Skill Up series. Now, the Skill Up series are the books where it is now about real skills that we're teaching the children, concepts that the children can read and then can apply, to grow and to become on the becoming journey. So even in my book, I am concerned about borrowing this curriculum and applying it, because the Montessori system says that the child is capable of teaching themselves. The Montessori system says that all the child needs is a preset environment, and in that preset environment, the child is capable to be his own teacher. And what the child needs is mentorship. He needs an older child who does things a certain way, and then he learns from that child, and the child learns from the next child. That's why in the Montessori classroom, you can have 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds in that system, because the Montessori system believes that mentorship amongst children, can help the child grow. The child's environment is capable of teaching the child. So it's about how you set your environment. So do you know you can adopt this, and use it in your home. You can do this. If I come and sit down with me one-on-one session, let's create this. Please don't come. Okay, I only work with children. But what I'm saying is you can borrow this and then apply it. So the Finnish system combines care and education. Yes, it combines care and education. So it is based on play, holistic learning at home, free play, well-being, and support. So the child can play freely. You put things where the child can reach the things, and then, of course, the child combines care. So the child is able to care for themselves. The child is able to care for themselves. The child is able to wash their things, clean their things, make their bed, all of these things. These are all these things are about. These are some of the things that this is about. And then, of course, the teacher becomes a constant guide or a constant, support in the child's life. So the child has that one teacher, and you can become that person consistently. Okay, then there's also the Montessori. Okay, there's the Montessori approach that believes that having a prepared environment that focuses on independence, it teaches grace, and then of course it teaches hands-on activities. It's child-led and it promotes independence. So you can bring the Montessori system into your home by creating. So your child wakes up to a created environment based on what you want to teach your child that period. So do you know you can decide, I want the children for the first week of summer, I want the children to learn all about water. I want the children to learn all about water. So we're going to do a lot of things about water. We will have, we'll go to swim. We will do evaporation in the kitchen. We will do melting and freezing. We will fill bottles with your little children. We will do spoon filling bottle, in the kitchen together. You have a small spoon, we'll win. So it's all about water. Then you teach them, about the component of water. You would teach them why we need water. You would teach them why water is essential in our lives. You would teach them why water is better than juice. You have what you call it now? You have a project-based learning for that period. It's all about water. That's like Montessori. So Montessori believes that you can have that independence in your children. So when you do this, you realize that you're learning together. It can be that you want to do nature. You want to do nature, and so you go for nature walks, or you are just focused on animals for this week. So I focus on animals for this week. So we'll go out, we'll look at lizards, we'll look at lizards, we'll look at birds, we'll look at this, we'll talk about them, we'll watch documentaries about this. It could be anything. Now, whatever it is, it must be something that your children can work with, they can touch. I used to go for a lot of nature walks with our daughter when she was, a toddler. So we would go into people's farms. I would go ask if I can come to their farm. So my daughter got to see sugarcane in real life. So she got to see sugarcane, how it grows. She got to see plantain. She got to see, all of these. So she could make sense of it. Before then, she didn't. At 4 or 5, she didn't. She could make sense of, how it is. It's not just that it comes home and they eat from it. They interact with nature. Today, my daughter can have deep conversation with you about almost any animal in the world. I don't even know half what she knows about when it comes to animals and nature. She would tell you she's so deep in it. I said this year, when YouTube sent me what I was focused on for the year. The highest thing that I was focused on my YouTube channel was animals, but that wasn't me. It was my daughter. So when she is even learning, right, when she takes screen and she's learning, many times, you know, she's more around trying to know more about these animals. It was because we introduced her to nature as early as possible. Okay. All right. You need to reschedule another one-on-one. All right, so let's move on, dear parents. So this is it. So now we're going to borrow this educational system and bring them. There are so many of them. There is the EYFS, the British framework, you know, that creates different parts of the home. So you can create a music corner in your home. You can create a science corner in your home. When our children were younger, we had a resource room, one room. My guest room, I brought it down. What is it? What are people coming to sleep with? I brought it down and we turned it to our resource room. So when you come to the resource room, you will see a painting corner. We had all kinds of brushes, acrylics, all kinds of paints there where they paint. You go, you will see a science corner. You know, we'll have all our science models that my son was using to do, you know, his videos when he was 8, you know, and all of that. And then you have a reading nook. We had our reading nook right there. Beautifully, you know, beautiful reading nook with lights and all of that. So they just go in there, lie down there, and it just prompts you to read a book, you know, while you're there. You should join the challenge, okay? The 30 days book challenge, right? Let your child join that challenge, right? We do all of these activities of the challenge. We will expand their minds, their creativity. We will do a challenge every day. You will see all of these things that I'm talking about. We bring them to life through this practical means in our reading challenge, okay? I don't want this session to stop. It is going to stop very soon. All right, so this is it. You know, this is it. This is how we build solid foundation, dear parents, for our children. This is how we build. This is how we catch them early. See, my children have the things that they do anyhow. They have the things that they do anyhow, but not afraid. The foundation, we locked it there. We locked the foundation right there. So even while they're doing our daughter, we've been jumping around with our daughter in recent times, you know, as she just wants to dress up. She just wants to dress up and just dance the way her classmates dance and all of that. You know, but I was in school the other day to get her result and she was on the A honor roll, like she had all A's. If you told her father that she could have come out with straight A's this year, he wouldn't have believed it because he's constantly looking at her like, what is wrong with this? So why you know like this, like your brother, right? So when the foundation is locked in, parents, we go to sleep. Okay, it's easy to go to sleep, all right? So we will bring this, you know, and then incorporate it in your home. And this is what will form some of the things that we're going to be doing during the summer holiday. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be looking at is you creating a small summer plan to whatever else that you have created. I want you to come up with three things that your children will do consistently every day during the summer holiday. What do you want to focus on? Now, this will come as a result of what you have done in your evaluation. So whatever you have done in your evaluation, focus on the biggest gap that they have. Create one goal in the area of that big gap that can make them start practicing towards, you know, towards overturning it or getting better in that area. Start during the summer holiday so that when we're going back to school and all of that, we can set goals based on that. But we have kicked off during the summer holiday. I'll give you an example. If your child has struggled for the longest, you know, or if one of the struggles that you have is your child starting and finishing, okay, you want to set a goal, like you want to give them specific task, right? You want to give them specific task and you want that task to be driven by a timeline. So for instance, our daughter, let me use her now. She's hearing me now. She'll come and fight me. So our daughter, you know, has struggled with, you know, chores. She struggles with chores, you know. And this is someone that's always been here, you know, chores has always been a part of us. I have not had a house help since our son turned 10. And that was 7 years ago, right? He turned 10 7 years ago. He's almost 17, right? So meaning for more than half of her life, she's just 11. She's never really had a house help, even though, yeah, my niece was here. And of course, her brother is here doing a lot for her. So I guess that's where it's coming from. So what we did this holiday is we decided no food is gonna enter that mouth. Food is not gonna enter that mouth until the room is done. So you wake up in the morning and you say your prayers, devotion, and then you tidy your room at least. You make that bed, you put things in their place, your bathroom is okay. Your room, at least your room, when your room is fine, then you can come out and have, the breakfast that you want to have, right? And then you go back and finish your chore. Now, why are we not going all out? When you wake up, you must do everything. It's because we are taking it one step at a time. She has struggled with this, so we don't need to turn it into full punishment and say, no food, we touch your mouth till you finish all your chore. So let's take it little by little. At least you can come make your bed first of all, put your clothes where they should be, ensure that your bathroom, is tidy. We're not saying wash it yet, it's tidy. So that's one step. And this can be done in 10-15 minutes. This can be done in 10-15 minutes. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's us moving from, you waking up and coming out and the older people have done everything, and you're just ready to jump in and enjoy. Okay? That's not happening. So you want to focus. So if that's one of the goals that you have. The other one is that we are going to read a book for 30 minutes every day. Oh, parents, if you make this one a goal, you must do it. You must do it. That's why come and order books and have books that we read. By the way, you should have a budget for books every month. If you don't, please start having it. Okay, but for this holiday, we have loaded you with books. Come and collect them. Okay, and then get ready for it. So the reading challenge will help you achieve this one very, very well, because now the reading challenge gives you an activity every day. So you can stay in there for 30 whole days. And it's nothing that will take too much of your time. Some of the activities, just 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but you are bonding, you're getting close with your daughter, you're having your son, you're having something you're enjoying together, you're doing together, because the reading challenge is fun and enjoyable. Okay, it's a lot of creativity. Where are my reading challenge parents? Are you not here? Tag them, those who don't know. Our reading challenge, it's called Summer Fun Activity and Book Challenge. It's nothing like any book challenge that you know. I mean, I'm not even bragging about it. So we do a lot of dress up. You will see me as old mama. You will dress up yourself, your children. It's such an amazing challenge. Even I look forward to our summer challenge. My children are older. They're not supposed to be in the challenge, but somehow we still enjoy the challenge, during the challenge, because it's become a part of our lives. And do you know that that's how I got my son to start reading books on his own? The reading challenge. I've read to him all his life. So he got used to me just reading to him, and he would focus on reading encyclopedias, science books, and all of that. But I thought he needed to, read all genre of books, read some fiction here, read all of that. But he would never pick a fiction book to read for the longest time. He would pick and hand them to me to read to him. He didn't have a problem with listening to me read, because I have read to him since he was a baby, all the way till he was about 6, 7. So it was around age 7. There was a 30 days book challenge. I got him into that 30 days book challenge, and I asked him, can you do it? And he said, oh, well, yeah. Okay. And so one day I went out and I came with a Geronimo Stilton book. It's about that rabbit Geronimo Stilton, and I gave it to him. Do you know that my son took that book and hid it? He hid it because the book was saying something, that was scary to him. He was saying something that was scary to him. I don't know what the rabbit was doing that is scary, that he had to hide for the longest. It was, I think, during that book challenge that he went to bring out that book to read, So, so after that, he read 30 books in 30 days for that challenge. 30 books in 30 days, and the rest was history. After that challenge, that was it. The rest was history. Before that, it's not like he didn't read, but he read encyclopedias. He would read encyclopedia. He would read about fish. He would read about animals. He was already fixed in his way. He has to be science, critical, serious, and we needed to tone it down. We needed to tone it down. So these are things, it will help you know your child. When you engage in all of these activities with your children, it helps you know them more. It helps you know them better. It helps you see them more and all that. Kamsi, do I have a third form? Okay, I have a third form also, right?
It's just 2.
No, I have a third form. All right. So you're going to be filling the form for your child. You're going to be filling the form for your child. I was thinking we will fill the forms together. We'll talk about it while we're filling it and all that. But you see now, the talk is plenty, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to send all the forms to you so that you will fill those forms, dear parents, and we will begin to, make certain decisions, based on those forms. Now, I want you, when you fill those forms, okay, the third form is actually you paying attention to what you will need to start doing based on what you find out from your evaluation or your reflection. Based on what you find out, I would want you to do something immediately. Okay, so when you fill that form, if you share with me, I'll tell you what you might need. But these are some of the options of what you could do based on that form. Now, when you fill the form, you may find out that what your child needs is what your child is struggling with is probably emotional awareness. Your child is struggling with emotional awareness. Your child is struggling with starting and finishing. Your child is struggling. So, based on all of that, do you know that for a child who is struggling with emotional awareness, you could start by just reading emotionally, books that are about, emotional intelligence. Now, how do you read these books? You read this book together so that you can role play the things. The child can listen to the character in the story and how the character handled their emotions. You can begin to create opportunity to be you can begin by being intentional about your emotions during this summer holiday, because a huge part of your child's emotions is your own emotional responses, how you react, or how you respond in the time of crisis. Your child is going to pick that and it becomes your child's own response as well. So just because you found that this is a major thing that your child has, it may be a reason why you become more intentional about what you're doing around your child this period, because emotions is reflective. Okay, the brain is a relational organ. The brain grows and learns from what the child is getting from the people that they interact with, especially their primary caregivers. So you are the one feeding how your child's emotions are growing. You are a huge part. So you can help them recalibrate. How you act can help your child recalibrate, and help your child become better. Okay, books will not give you a natural or a neutral place where you can act the character. You can talk about the character together, and the character can be examples to your child and how they can handle naming, managing, feeling their emotions, and then letting go of those emotions. I've done a beautiful job with this in all my books this year, from the little ones, from the first book series to the Little Mind series to the Skill Up series. It gives age appropriate ways that your children can learn emotional intelligence beautifully in those, in all of these books. So go get our books, okay? Go and get the books, and you better buy them now. They're still at a 20% discount if you get them now. Okay, we'll share all of this in the group so you can key in, right away. Okay, so you can do that with their emotions now. So for your child that attention span is a thing, puzzles, the reading, we're going to read a lot. Okay, so the activities in the reading is going to help them, build their attention span. Get puzzles into your home this holiday. Get paint by numbers into your home this holiday. Get activities that you can do together that is hands-on. Okay, get loose parts that your child would dare and learn how to put together. Even for your older children, do you know that loose parts can actually work? You can see your 10, 15-year-old sit down there trying to figure out what to do with all the sticks and the holes that your carpenter has created for you. You can go to your carpenter and have them carve, different shapes and different things that can fit into those shapes. And it can be the reason why your child's attention span is expanded. You can have a 10-year-old with the attention span of a 5-year-old if you may not just know because you're not paying attention. So these are some of the things, very key. Reading will also work for that. So the reading challenge, come and get into it. You can have a child that is struggling with a whole lot when it comes to to executive functioning skills. They are unable to take initiative. They're unable to start and finish anything. They're unable to listen and run with instructions. Then you know that you need collaborators. You need them in a system that will hold them accountable. Now, while that system is holding them accountable, this may not happen in 2 months. For your child, it may not even happen in 5 months. For your child, it may not even happen, they will not get it right in 1 year. You would have to learn to be patient, consistent. You have to learn consistency. You will have to learn to extend grace to your child, and you have to trust whatever system you have gotten your child into, and then believe in that system. So I say to parents, if your children are young, you have your 4, 5, 6, 8-year-olds. Do you know I prescribe the mastermind not just because I do it, but because the mastermind is very focused. It's a small, it's a not really that small, but the core of the mastermind is to focus on every child. So we see every child. Every child has a voice. We listen to that voice. Every child in the mastermind feels, if the child is showing up as they should show up, then the child feels like he has a family and belongs to a family. The child feels heard by me. The child feels heard by the system. Because the child knows that when they need support, they will get the support, and that they have support every day. So the mastermind accountability is very close, it's consistent, and of course, it's every day, right? So even now that we're taking 4-year-olds, we're even moving our 4 and 5-year-olds to a different group altogether, where the accountability is more the what do you call it? The contact is for shorter time. So we'll have just 30-minute meetings, but those meetings are engaging from the beginning to the end. We don't talk too much in the mastermind because children this age don't need too much talk. You are the one listening to a child that is 6 or 5 being talked to for hours, and you think the child is learning. No, you're the one that is listening, and it's okay to your adult ears. Your child tuned off a long time ago, but it just sounds okay to your ears, and you think your child is benefiting like that. So that's why sometimes they struggle. You struggle, you're like, he's not learning anything. No, it's you that is learning. Child is not learning. So we understand that. That's why even this year we want to move our 5-year-olds from the group where we had them with 7, 8-year-olds. We want to move them because we realize that we should do even less, less kind of things that we did this year with them. We should do differently with the younger ones. So our 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds are going to be together. We parents don't collect too. The collection is a thing, though. We must continue to collect. So it's very important. So we'll have them 4, 5, 6-year-olds together. Then we have the older kids together. And then we'll have them in levels this time so that, we can focus. But foundation is very key. But it is your evaluation that will help you see what your child needs. Don't forget that. Always, always, always. And let me leave you with this as we round off. Dear parents, always pay attention to your child's need. Stop following the crowd. Everybody is doing this, which I will do. No. Always, always attend to your child's need. It's your child's need that determines what your child needs per season. So that's why you are reflecting and you are evaluating right now so that you know what your child needs in this season. So you're not just doing it because everybody is doing it, okay? They say everybody should go and be swimming. Oh, we too are swimming. Is that what your child needs in this season? Okay, so find out what your child needs in this season, and that's where your child should be. That's the person or that's the system that you should be collaborating with in this season. There'll be a season where your child needs another system, then that's when you move to that system. Don't ever forget it. Okay, very, very key. No problem. All right, so very important. I am going to go and watch match. I need to go. that I got thrown out. I think my Wi-Fi went off for a bit and then I got thrown out. Oh, I just heard that the match is not even at 8, that is at 10. What it is that your child needs per time. Okay, what your child needs per time trumps Ayana. What your child needs per time trumps, it trumps, what you are, as in what you're feeling. Don't get confused about what every other person is doing. Be co-parents, identify what your child needs per time and make sure that you are feeling those blind spots. You are feeling that need. When that need is, or that stage, or that thing is surmounted, or when the child, has come out of that phase, then the child can move to the next phase, and then the next phase, and then the next phase. Their needs will change as they move from one phase to the other. Very key. All right, so we have time for questions. If you want to ask questions, that's why we are here on Zoom. If you want to ask questions, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions. We'll take questions for the next 10 minutes and we can go. We've been here for close to 2 hours. Thank you for being here. So you can unmute and ask your questions, and we will share the form with you. Okay, so you have your 4 to 10-year-olds. We are here in the Mastermind Circle. Bring that. Bring them to us. Let us build a solid foundation with these children together. When I see my mastermind children in bigger communities or when they grow to older communities, I am always very proud. I sit down here in the last few years, Pro Speak Academy, Coach Joy Shimukai, every time most of their winners are my mastermind children. I look at them like my mastermind children are just winning everywhere. It's such a beautiful thing to see them. I see the older ones, in communities where they belong. You see them as leaders, you see them stand out, and all of that. There's something about foundation, and that's the cool thing for parents who have followed us in the mastermind. I see tops are here. The other mastermind parents here. You will see them stay for 3-4 years. They are here with us for 3-4 years because we understand that it's a loop. Okay, we understand that it's a loop. You know something? My daughter, for some reason, I don't think the school planned it. But for some reason, my daughter had one teacher. My daughter had one teacher from year 5. So she taught her English in year 3, became her homeroom teacher in year 4, and then her homeroom teacher in year 5. So she had Miss B as her teacher for 3 straight years. If I tell you the bond between my daughter and that teacher, and it's not just my daughter, it's most of her classmates. So Miss B is getting married 2 years, a year after the children have left the class, and the parents all of us, the parents, were at her wedding. She wasn't our children's teacher anymore, but we're at her wedding. She has she's giving birth, she got married, she's giving birth, and the children know about everything. They know when Miss B's child has been born. So even when she gave birth, they were told, that they are that close. The children just graduated from year 6 now. She's not taught them, and she was right there. She was the only teacher that was right there that we had to appreciate, with the year 6 teacher because she's been with them for the longest. So you see how that principle that the Finnish use, is a Finnish principle where they have that loop or cohort system where the child stays with the teacher. The teacher is the teacher for 6 whole years in elementary school. The teacher stays with them between 3 and 6 years. I think they do that in Japan too. The teacher stays for like 3 years. They do that in, I don't know, New Zealand. They do that in New Zealand also, or Denmark. Denmark does that also for 3 to 6 years. The teacher is there. It's so that they build connection because you learn from a person that you connect with. So that's why when I hear parents say, beg, I cannot teach my child, I will kill my child. You don't know what you are saying because you don't understand, the power that you have to help your child learn at a deep level because of how connected they are. If only you knew maths now, your child would be flying because if you know if you know those concepts, and you understand how to be there for the child, not as their parents shouting and screaming. You can be there intentionally, very nicely and sweetly. Do you know your child will learn that thing 10 times faster and better, right? I had my child pulled from school. I homeschooled her from age 4. She was homeschooled for almost 2 years. And in those 2 years, we woke up in the morning and the first thing she did in the morning after having her bath was She woke up in the this was her routine. She woke up in the morning, she said a prayer and all of that. She goes into the bathroom, have her bath, then she comes out of the bathroom and then comes to the kitchen. She comes to the kitchen and we fix her breakfast. We fix breakfast together. When we're done fixing breakfast together, usually one small thing, I must have made food for her brother to go to school. He was going to proper school. She was homeschooled. We must have something. So we just stir fry or warm together and all of that. And then she leaves me in the kitchen and picks her basket. She goes to her room, picks her basket that has the book that she's reading for the day, that has what we're doing for the day, everything. She picks that basket, she comes in and she reads a book. My daughter read a book every day for those 2 years, first thing in the morning. That was the first thing she did every day for those 2 years. And I tell you today, my daughter's day is not whole. It's not possible without Adachuku reading a book. It's not possible. Just 2 months ago, she read The Alchemist, and I was asking her at age 10, why are you reading Alchemist? Can you understand it? She told me the entire story, and then she said, but I don't think I really understand it already. And then I said, you can read it later. But she told me, and she made a lot of sense. She read the book, but the only reason she will pick a book that she has no business with and is able to read like that is because the search for knowledge is an innate desire. The search for knowledge is default. It's easy. She just wants to learn. She just wants to read. She enjoys reading. So we're going out right now, and what you see her do is she'll pick a book as she's going out. It's not possible that she goes out and she doesn't have a book with her. Right? It's not because there's anything unique about her. It's just a practice that has been cultivated over the years, and it's become second nature. Thank you so much, dear parents. If you have questions, we will answer them. But if we don't have questions, then I'm going to let you go, and I look forward to having your children. So at this point, you can help us invite as many friends and people that you have. We want a full class. We want all the children. We want hundreds of children. We want to be the reason, we want to be a part of your children's law of first mention. I want to be the reason your children love books. In fact, in case you have not figured that out, please know that today, that I want to be Dr. Fortune's little boy. What's his name? What's his name? Not Asha. No, hi, what's his name? I've forgotten Sophie's last son. I mean, her last son. He's been here. He's been doing book challenge since he was a few months. I want to be the reason when your child thinks of reading. I want them to call my name next to it. I want to be a part of it. Okay, after they call your name, then let them call my name. It's that important to me that more children can read and enjoy reading, because I know when that land is fertile, anything that drops in there will grow because you already have a fertile land. So that's how you cultivate a fertile land in your child, whether it's in their academics or it's in their knowledge of the world or it's in their ability to solve problems. If the ground is fertile, anything will grow in it. A child who can stay through a book from the beginning to the end, will stay through a math problem from the beginning to the end, will stay through looking for a solution to something that he wants to do to impact the world from the beginning to the end, will have the knowledge and requisites, the requisite knowledge that he needs to help him, build his competencies. This thing is a ripple effect. So you see this academic excellence and doing well in school, it's just a fruit of the real thing. And the real thing is these core skills that we're talking about. This one's foundation skills that we are building. Oh yeah, we have stayed here long enough. Bye, dear parents. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. If you don't have any questions, have a blessed rest of the evening. Good evening, dear Coach Envy. Please, will there be a link to catch replay? Yes, definitely. We'll share the link now. So we'll share the link to catch replay. We'll put all the questions, all the forms in the group for you to use. We'll have all the links for you to join, any of our community. But let me see the children. I want to see the children in the reading challenge. Bring them. Let's do this reading challenge together. It's always fun. It's always amazing. And yes, we can't wait to receive your children in the mastermind circle. Bring them. Let's grow together. Come, let's partner, and be a part so that we can be a part of your children's life and we can grow together. Thank you again, dear parents. Have a fantastic rest of the day. God bless you for trusting us. Bye. Bye. You can end the meet. Is it mastermind children app? They say I should count down for you. This is how we count down in the mastermind. So we're going off in 5, 4, 3, 2.